Hello, good morning. It is a beautiful day in Paris and my best friend Megan is about to arrive from New York. You might remember Megan from when she came to visit me at Everdeen, and she has been to Paris quite a few times. So what we're going to do this time is do a little tour around of some lesser known sites. We're going to go to 4 lesser known places that are kind of local secrets of Paris. It's places that you're not going to find on the tourist list of must-dos. It's going to be more sort of local great spots that you have to kind of live here to know about. So I thought I would take you guys along and show you a little bit of the lesser known side of Paris, which I actually prefer. I think some of these spots are actually better than some of the big tourist spots like the Arc de Triomphe or the Tuileries or like that kind of thing. So let's get going. I'm gonna go get Megan and then we are going to head to our first stop. There she comes. So this is the Chateau Vincennes. This is the end of the line 1, so you can come here on the metro, and I really love the Chateau for a couple of reasons. Firstly, because you can see the vast difference in the architectural styles. You've got the Gothic chapel, you've got the more modern wings, and you've got the medieval keep. It's really like kind of a trip through history just to walk around this place. And the other reason I really love it is because Charles the Ninth, the Mad King, died here, which sounds depressing now that I say it out loud, but it's an interesting historical tidbit, and I'm really interested in that particular epoch of the monarchy, because you had Catherine de Medici was Charles IX's mother, and she was just a fascinating person. You also had his older brother who predeceased him, who was king for a very short time and also married to Mary, Queen of Scots. And you had in the same family a cousin, Henry IV, who would later become king after 3 of Catherine de Medici's sons died childless and became one of the greatest kings of France. I really love coming here because you can just feel the history around you, and it's so easy, and it's right on the edge of the Parc de Vincennes, which is one of the biggest parks in Paris. It's one of the 2 giant parks, the Bois de Vincennes and the Bois de Boulogne, that are on either side of Paris, and is a great spot for a picnic or a day out or a little row around the lake that's in the middle. The wild influencer can be shown in a variety of strange behaviors. Science hasn't quite figured out what all of them are for yet, but it seems to be part of the ritual of the wild influencer's daily life in its natural habitat, Chateau land. This chateau is stunning and packed with history, and definitely merits a full day out just to visit this area between the chateau, the park, the small guinguettes or outdoor restaurants and beer halls that are inside the park. You could absolutely fill up a whole day or possibly even more in this area. It's also easily accessible from central Paris. It takes just under 40 minutes to get here from Châtelet, which is right in the center of Paris, and you can take the metro very easily. However, we are now going to get going and hop on the train to our second stop for the day. This stop is one of my favorite places in the Paris area. It's slightly farther out, but still easily accessible by train. And it's a place that I only really know about because I used to work right next to it. I used to teach at an aerial art studio that was right on the edge of this area. And once I discovered this next stop, I was there quite often after teaching an aerial hoop class. Hello, we are in one of my favorite places in Paris, and it's not just for the alcohol, I promise. And we're actually not even in Paris, we're in Saint-Cloud, that is a neighborhood just outside of Paris, and we're at a restaurant called L'Orangerie. And what's really special about this restaurant is that it is in the center of a massive park. It's the grounds and gardens of a chateau that was built by Louis XIV's younger brother, Philippe d'Orléans. And unfortunately the chateau is no longer here, but the grounds and the gardens remain. So it's a gorgeous park, and this lovely, lovely restaurant is right in the middle of it. It's one of my favorite spots in the Paris area. Oh no, where did my beer go? It's mysteriously disappeared. I'll have to get another one. I'm really surprised that we've never been here before in the times that you've been through France. What do you think?
It's real good. This is a wonderful, I guess it's a galette, not a crepe.
I'm not sure what the difference between a galette and a crepe is. Apparently these are all galettes.
I do consider myself a cheese expert, even though I'm not French. And this chef cheese is amazing.
Maybe it's something to do with, like, I think that they're made with more of like a whole wheat flour. It might be something to do with that.
No, you're right about the savory. Galettes are just savory.
Yeah.
They're really yummy.
The Park of Saint-Cloud is located 5 kilometers west of central Paris and is easily accessible by the Line 9 metro or the L train. The chateau that once stood here was built in the 16th century, but then widely expanded by Philippe of Orléans, the younger brother of Louis XIV, the Sun King, who valued it for its proximity to both Paris and Versailles, and the gardens were built by André Le Nôtre, who you may know as the designer of the Versailles Gardens. Later, the chateau was bought by Louis XVI for Marie Antoinette, who was convinced that the air would be good for her children. In the 19th century, the chateau was occupied by many of the crowned heads of Europe, including Napoleon I and Napoleon III, and royal visitors including Queen Victoria and Prince Albert. However, disaster struck in 1870 during the war with the Prussians, when the Prussian army occupied the strategically important high ground on which the chateau was built. During the Prussian shelling of Paris, counterfire from the French hit the building, which caught fire and burned down on the 13th of October 1870. Today, only the gardens and a few outbuildings remain. Here's the main draw of the Domaine Saint-Cloud behind me, which unfortunately is getting cleaned up today. They've got a whole cleaning crew. That's hard to say. Cleaning crew? I'm an Anglophone, I swear. But they've got a whole cleaning crew renovating and restoring the famous fountain of the Domaine Saint-Cloud. An interesting thing about this fountain is, if you know what it looks like, which is basically this, but like minus the white fabric. Anytime you're in a chateau in France, quite often they'll have collections of china and porcelain. And one of the most famous manufacturers of porcelain is here in this area, Sèvres, the town of Sèvres. It's just across from the park. And one of the things I love to put on the Sèvres porcelain, the commemorative Sèvres porcelain, is this fountain. So you may very well see this depicted in chateaux all over France and beyond. And I'm gonna walk out, we're gonna walk out past the Musée de Porcelaine, the Musée de Sèvres, over here on this side, and I'll show you guys that as we go. Alright, next stop, we're at one of my favorite squares in Paris. This is the Square de Batignolles. There's a park and there's this gorgeous church behind me, but my favorite thing in Square de Batignolles is the cookie shop. Yum! I love these cookies so much. When you get your cookies, you've got to come to my favorite cookie eating place, this is actually where Laurent and I had one of our first dates, was getting Scoop Me a cookie, which is ironic because he has no taste, but he was on board. I guess he can still do the sugar. And then coming and sitting here and eating them and watching the geese and the ducks. So, enjoy.
This one's like a good gooey one.
They're all really, these are very soft cookies. Like the concept of Scoop Me a Cookie is it's almost cake-like and it's really soft and rich. And what do you think? All right, I gotta stop filming so I can dig into mine. It's our last stop. And I've come down, I went home to change, and I've come down to Opera, which they turned out the lights on the Opera, but the Opera is just back there. I'm going to one of my favorite bars to meet everyone. This is, I think, probably a slightly famous bar in Paris, but I think deeply underappreciated because I adore this bar. It's called Harry's New York Bar, and it is such a, well, you guys will see, It's a really cool place. Harry's New York Bar is a popular hangout for expats and Parisians just around the corner from the Opera Garnier. In the upstairs bar, walk in and feel like you stepped back in time as you look around at the decor that's changed a little since the bar opened in 1911, but then head downstairs for the live music and cocktail bar. It is unmissable, trust me. Doors opened on Thanksgiving Day 1911 after the bar was physically brought over from 7th Avenue in Manhattan and reassembled here on the Rue d'Onu in Paris. And down here is the place to get one of Harry's famous cocktails. Legend has it that the Bloody Mary, Sidecar, Blue Lagoon, and White Lady were all invented in this bar. And you can still get all of those drinks here, as well as a long list of other options. There's also live music every night from extremely talented musicians. And if you're around at the right time of year, there is the Harry's Straw Poll. It's a mock election that happens 1 month before Election Day in the US and has been eerily accurate at predicting winners. Looking around at the photos on the walls, you can really see how little the bar has changed in its 100-year-plus history. And then drink your cocktail until the famous Harry's mascot flies seem to dance in the bottom of your glass. Wow, look who it is that couldn't let one video go past. You couldn't let one video go by without being in it, could you?
No.
That's good. You got a cute little face. I might as well use it for my own means. If you're new to the channel, you're probably wondering what the hell is going on here. This is my boyfriend, Laurent.
Hello.
Anyway, we have crashed. We've come home and just fell into bed because it's been a very, very long day of very fun things. And you were at work all day.
Yeah.
But I think that it is about bedtime around here. I hope you guys enjoyed some of these kind of lesser known corners of Paris. They're some of my favorites. I think we did some of my very favorite things today. All alone. Without you.
No.
No. Anyway, before I go to sleep, I'm going to just remind you guys to please do subscribe to the channel because there's all kinds of exciting things happening. There's more videos like this where we're seeing Paris and other parts of France, but there's a lot of videos with Everdeen, the farmhouse that we are renovating in Auvergne, and it's 200 years old and it's got a lot of projects that need to be done.
Yeah, we're getting back soon. And,
Yeah.
And that's a lot to do.
In the summer, we're going to be staying for a big chunk of time, working hard and getting a lot of things done. So if you don't want to miss that, you should subscribe.
Subscribe.
And also like this video. And also, finally, a huge, huge thank you to our lovely patrons. Thank you so much for supporting Everdeen and supporting this channel. And you guys are the best. So with that, it is sleepy, sleepy time.
Good night.
Good night.
All right, what to get now?